I'm at the turf plot test area for Oregon State University with Alec, who's the turf specialist. You know, this time of year, it's that time that we want to get our lawns ready. You know, we're going to be using it, we're going to be entertaining, the kids are running around, and we want to be able to start with the right kinds of things. So what do we want to do right this time of year?
Okay, so in general, when we talk about turf grass management, the 5 cultural practices from the top down are mowing, fertilization, irrigation, cultivation, and then pest management.
Okay.
So the most important being the mowing.
Really?
You should be spending more time and money on mowing than any other cultural practice. And then it should follow that order down to pest management, being the least amount of time and least money into pest management.
Okay, well let's go back to mowing. So what's the height? What's the optimum height we should be mowing at?
Sure, so when you talk about optimum height, when we talk about cool season grasses, the thing is, I tell people when it's homeowners, put it as high as you can stand it. Okay, if you have a push mower, put it up to the highest height possible that you can tolerate personally. Because when we drive across Oregon, the Willamette Valley here, and we see the cool season grasses, they grow in the field at 12 inches tall, right? That's the height they want to grow at.
Okay.
So the higher you mow it, the healthier your lawn will be. When you enter into stress periods, hot, dry summer periods, the higher your grass is mowed, the healthier it will be.
And when you're saying cool grasses, what varieties are those?
So cool season grasses are perennial ryegrass, tall fescue, fine fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, typically in home lawns.
All right, and that's what we're going to see in those seed packages when we buy them.
Right.
Okay, and then what's the second thing after mowing?
So second is fertilization.
Okay.
For home lawns, you should be fertilizing 2 to 4 times a year. If I fertilized 4 times a year, there's a great plan I can use called the holiday plan. You're going to fertilize on Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and then Halloween.
Okay,
so
that's good.
At a pound of nitrogen per time, so about 4 pounds of nitrogen throughout the year. That's for perennial ryegrass. If you've got a fine fescue or tall fescue lawn, you could knock that down to 2 pounds of nitrogen per year, just making your Memorial Day and then your October Halloween application.
All right, and so then we're on the third section.
So irrigation. When we talk about irrigation, you know, the Pacific Northwest, Oregon coast here is a very good environment for cool season grasses. We should only be irrigating three months out of the year, you know. We should have ample amounts of water the rest of the time.
Sure.
So when we enter this drought period, when you talk about maintaining cool season grasses with irrigation, I suggest using light and frequent irrigation rather than deep and infrequent. When I say light and frequent, I'm talking about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of water 3 to 5 days a week. So really, it's not much more than 1 inch of water when you add all that up. Okay. The idea is with that is if you put down deep, infrequent irrigation, majority of the water is either running off the surface or infiltrating down through the soil. If you do light, frequent irrigation, you supply water to the top few inches of the grass where the majority of the roots are growing.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, we're up to number 4.
So number 4 is cultivation. If you were to core cultivate your lawn, I would do it in the late spring, early summer months before the dry period of the summer sets in. When we talk about core cultivation, if you have a perennial ryegrass lawn or a tall fescue lawn, it probably will not need to be core cultivated maybe once in your lifetime. Okay. If you have creeping red fescue or a grass that grows with stolons or rhizomes like creeping bentgrass or these other velvet grass type things, you may have to do a annual cultivation treatment with those type of grasses.
And that's what it takes the plugs out, and so you're kind of just getting some more soil in there so that the roots have some places to go. So.
Right.
And so then the 5th one.
So pest management. When we talk about pest management, you know, in the Pacific Northwest here, there's not a whole lot of insect pressure. You could have some European crane fly problems in the early spring months. The other big one is going to be some of the broadleaf weeds. If you were to consider a broadleaf weed herbicide application, the best time to do it would be in the fall. And I'm going to steal an extension saying from an old friend, tell your weeds 10-4 good buddy. Spray them on the 4th of October to knock them out in the fall there.
Ah, that's great. And really doing spot spraying is probably the best. You want to see it when it's little, and then that area is going to fill in fast instead of letting the weeds really get away from you.
Right, so when we talk about spot spraying, when you think about weeds in your lawn, weeds are not the cause of poor grass or poor turf. Weeds are the result of poor turf management. So when you've got an intensely weed populated lawn, you should think, what is my mowing height? How many pounds of fertilizer am I putting down? How frequent is my irrigation in the summer? Do I need to cultivate compacted areas? Then you think, after all of those things, you consider doing your weed application. And yes, spot treatment is better than broadcast treatment. If you're going to spot treat your lawn, I would also suggest in the fall coming in and reseeding some of those areas.
Oh, definitely.
Because you think about that, if you remove the weed and you kill an area, what's going to come back?
Another weed.
Another weed. Perfect.
Right. So Alec, this area we're standing on is not the optimum lawn I would be hoping for. So what's going on here?
Okay. So yes, when we look at these different test plots, this area here was renovated last fall and then didn't receive any seed on top of it.
Oh, okay.
So these are the natural grass and weed species that come in if you were to just strip an area and let everything come back. And as we talk about these different spots, if you look at some of the grasses behind you here, you've got fine fescue, rough bluegrass, tall fescue, perennial ryegrass. When we pick these different species, we pick them for different reasons. We pick perennial ryegrass for fast germination. Okay, I would say if you have a sunny, irrigated lawn, use perennial ryegrass. If you've got a shady, unirrigated lawn that's going to have a lot of drought, use fine fescue. If you've got a sunny, unirrigated lawn, use tall fescue.
Ah, great. Well, really, you've given us so many good tips. There's those 5 tips to really go for, and you're going to have a great lawn this year. Well, thank you so much for all the information.
Thank you.